Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Ask Jonathan. I'm just going to jump right into it right away. Well, I should say before we get too crazy, if you guys out there have a comment or question that you'd like me to answer in a future video, probably next week, just leave it right in the comment box below, and we'll get right to it. So this week's question comes from Liberation Comic 11. Thank you for your question. And he or she, or if you got both, I don't know what you're called then, whatever you prefer. So they have two questions this week. And I thought, what the hell, I'll answer them. So we'll go to the first one here. Hey man, your videos are awesome, thank you. But I do have two questions that I would like you to answer from a professional perspective. The first question is, how do you create good storytelling visually through art? Okay, that's a tricky question. It's a loaded question and it's not at the same time. How do you create, how did you word it again? How do you create good storytelling visually through art? And good's going to be subjective. However, for me, the biggest thing that you can do is keep it as clear and simple as possible. What does that mean? Anybody that's a fan of somebody like Frank Miller, he did Sin City, 300, that stuff that everybody's remembered about. Mike Mignola from Hellboy, especially him. The way that they draw is simple. It's almost, I don't want to say cartoonish, because, like people start thinking like Looney Tunes and Ninja Turtles, things like that. But keep it simple in the concept, or in the context that it's literally simple drawings. Like there's no over-rendering. The most complex thing that they usually have visually that you can notice right at the crack is the shadows. But what you might not be noticing is how they stack those shadows to make form. That's where they're really selling it. But that's a different topic altogether there. So keep it. I'm not saying draw simple like that. I'm just saying, if you don't have access to at least Hellboy, I would highly recommend dropping the $10 to $20 on Amazon. Find a way. I think everybody should have at least one trade paperback of Hellboy in their collection. If for no other reason than just to study the art. If you don't like the stories and you don't like the art, I respect that. However, I think everybody should at least look at it and then make your own judgment on it. And what you're going to learn from how he draws, especially, so he breaks things down. So, for example, let's say we have a guy running through a forest. The idea is not the guy running through the forest. The idea is, what is that panel in that comic page? And I'm not really going to talk about pinups and stuff. That's another thing. But for comics, what that panel is really about. It might be that it's about a guy running through a field. It could be he's running from himself, from his mind in some nightmare dream. Like, that's getting into some deep, convoluted stuff that the reader might not, probably won't check or click in unless they read it multiple times. So you always want to, at least in my opinion, when you're drawing comic books, is that everybody's going to be looking at the art differently. So if you can keep it as simple as possible, you're going to help yourself tenfold. The more you give the reader, the easier it is for them to understand and follow what's going on. So again, going back to that guy running through a field. If you just show a guy running through a field, you need to make sure, does that guy look like he's running? Because if it just looks like he's jogging, that's not that action you want. You got to make him look like he's running. Is he running for his life? Make him somehow look like he's running from his life. Maybe he's in an exaggerated like sprinter pose. Where it's kind of like he's folded down, kind of like he's almost about to trip in a sense. And where he's at. The background information is key, because if it's a forest, then have some way of putting the forest, like the way you frame it. But if the main point of that panel is a guy running through a forest, that's got to be what the attention of that panel is. I feel like we could get into another discussion, if you guys wanted to, just leave it in the comment bar, about how to break a panel into composition, or how to make it look right. I hate saying certain things like that, because it's not my opinion to say something looks right. It's not your opinion to say something looks right. We all have different tastes and flavors, right? Some of us like really crazy, like graffiti style art, where it's forced perspectives and things. Like something's coming right up at the camera, but it looks, all the bones are broken, but it looks good, and it's all preference. So clarity. Try to keep it as clear as possible. Don't put rendering. Don't put heavy shadows if you're not comfortable with it. If it's just going to add detail, don't put it in. It's a waste of time. See, I'm getting into it already. It may be a waste of time unless it's your style. So your style may be like the old 90s guys like Greg Capullo and those cats, where it's like they would just render the living hell out of everything. And I think it looks awesome. I love that stuff. I still kind of do that. But your main goal should be to make whatever the point of the panel is as clear as friggin' possible. Just do it the best you can. Hopefully that answers your question. Again, look at guys like Mike Mignola from Hellboy, Frank Miller, especially Sin City. I have one book that he did, I think it's called Ronin, and that one's a little bit different. It's not as black and white. There's color in there, so it's a little bit more muddy, but check out him. And then the last person that I usually recommend all the time is Eduardo Rizzo, and you can check out his work on 100 Bullets. He did a Batman book. I have that as well. You know, it's good, but he shines on 100 Bullets. Just check that out so you can see clarity. And I'm not saying that you have to draw the way these cats draw. Just look at what they're doing, try to understand why they're doing what they're doing, and hopefully that'll help out. And I ask some of the viewers out there too, if you guys have recommendations of clearly drawn art, Bone would be a good example. I think everybody's read Bone. If not, I mean, you can check it out. It's at the library, I'm sure. But just leave it in the comment bar so that other people that stumble on this video down the road, if they're just looking to like build up their library a little bit, you can just go down and click some stuff in there. Actually, check out Invincible by Image as well, Ryan Oatley. Fantastic stuff there. And your second question there is, how do you find good people to review your work, and what would give good... Let's try it again. Second question is, how do you find good people to review your work that would give good, honest critique? I don't know if you'll actually find, if you don't have somebody right now that can give you a good, honest critique, I don't know if you will anytime soon. I don't mean that to deter you at all. Once you start getting into certain art circles, and this might sound a little elitist, and I don't mean it to separate like quality of art with where you are right now. I don't mean that at all. But once you start, I want to say, getting people into your work a little bit, you're going to start friending, whether it's on Facebook or Twitter or in real life if you're fortunate enough. You're going to start becoming acquaintances with people that are actually doing quality stuff, or things that you want to, I don't want to say take their job, but you want to work for Marvel, you want to work for DC, you want to, I don't know, you want to be able to get paid, you know what I mean? You're going to start to get into those circles a little bit. And I think at that point, once you're there, you're kind of there. All you're doing is you're refining your ability and your skill and your talent. But never stop learning. Never try to stop learning to get better, because the time you stop learning, you're going to stagnate. Your stuff's going to become boring, not only yourself, but people will notice that the life isn't there, the energy isn't there. And I think we could all probably name some lifeless art that we look in comic books today, and we've all said that, oh, I could draw that. Why don't I work for them yet? You know, that kind of garbage. But if you're actually looking or seeking out somebody to do it, stay away from family for the most part, unless you have a family member that works in the field. And in the field, it could be anything art, graphic design, websites, animation, you know, anything creative in a sense. And that's not to deter people that do like photography or, I don't know, woodworking or something. It's just not the same. And you know what I mean? So try to find people there. And the big thing is, when you do reach out to somebody, whether it's somebody that you just met like myself, or you're just trying to, like, you talk to a friend, put it in context what you want. I've had people send me art all the time, and they'll just say, hey, what do you think? And I know they're trying to be polite, but at the same time, I don't know if I'm part of like a mass list that they're sending stuff to in hopes for multiple things to happen. One being, yeah, I will give them a critique, or two, they hope somehow I know somebody that can get them a job by looking at their stuff and go like, holy crap, this guy's like, or this girl's fantastic. I'm going to, like, you know, hook them up through an editor or somebody that I know and give them a job. I don't think I'd ever do that unless I knew the person. You know what I'm saying? I do know, like, Cannon White, a good buddy of mine. I talk about him quite a bit. Him and I would go back and forth. We've given each other some hookups through the years. But him and myself, we go back quite a ways in the old art forums and stuff. And we just, you know, clicked and we hit it. So I know, and we haven't done this too much, Cannon, if you are watching, thanks, but, you know, we've always talked about it, but like I kind of put it in context at the beginning of this, and this isn't to say I know I'm great or awesome or anything like that, but I'm getting to a point now where I can only go to certain people to help me get better, because at this point in my career, if I don't know what I need to get better, there's very few things that other people can show me. And again, that's not in a, you know, nose up in the sky kind of thing. That's just, as you get better at something, you're going to notice things around you change. The circle of friends that you're in changes. The way you work is going to change. And I think I'm getting a little off topic here, but yeah, try to find people that you put there that you can trust. You know, also look to get hurt. I know it's a little scary. Don't go looking at art bullies, you know, like people are just going to tell you your stuff sucks. That's not going to do much. But if a bunch of people are telling you your stuff sucks, that's one of two things. One, they're jealous, or two, it really does suck. And for people to actually I don't want to say man up, but grow the balls to tell you your stuff sucks, you know, that's a little, I don't know. I don't know who anybody is to tell somebody else that their art sucks. Art's art, you know what I'm saying? But man, I'm really getting off topic on this one. Okay, so try to find somebody that you can relate to or you're friends with that's in a related field at what you do. Somebody that you definitely respect their opinion. Put it in context. And other than that, take it with a grain of salt. If you're sending a picture that you just did to like 10 people, I don't know, what do I got near me? Okay, so here's a sketch I did. I don't know if it's going to show up. Okay, so just I did this at work one day. Cool. Let's say I'm you, he or she out there, and I drew this and I thought this was like the greatest thing I ever did. So I posted on some forums, on DeviantArt, all that cool stuff. And I just said, what do you guys think? The only replies you're going to get are either people adding it to favorites, or they're going to say things like, looks awesome, good job, you're the best. Oh, I can't wait to work with you one day. You know, really uplifting stuff. But if instead what I wrote on there was like, hey guys, I'm trying to get better. Feel free to leave a comment on something that you see that looks off, or something that you think I can improve on for next time. If not, thanks for looking, you know, yada, 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 you know, thank you, all that good stuff. Always say thank you. Be polite. Be polite. Manners go a long way. And be genuine about those manners. Don't hold the door open and say, you know, thanks with like a smug smirk on your face. People can look right through that stuff, okay? Be polite. Be nice. So you post it on there. Now, you might get everybody replying again saying, awesome, you know, can't wait to work with you, yada, yada, yada. If you're lucky, you're going to get one or two people that'll show up and they'll actually say something like, oh, okay, like, so say I'm looking at this analytically here. Okay, so I look at them like, you know, these hands, look at the size of them. Those are disgusting. You know, like they're way too big. His head's way too small. And I don't know what's going on with the, I don't know what's going on with this shoulder muscle. Like, it's not even connecting right. All in all, I like the shadow work and the rendering's nice. That's what they say, okay? Now, I would take that myself, and there's a couple things you got to put into that, into the mindset. That person may not know the character that I drew. He might not know that this character, for this guy anyway, Jessup King, he's for one of my stories and stuff. He does have a smaller head. He has huge hands. He has big body. I like to think of him like the Hulk with a mustache, at least the Hulk that I like. So the person might not know that. So I'd have to take that into consideration, being like, you know, look at it and go, oh man, maybe his head is too small. But don't be paranoid about it. You know, that person is looking at things trying to help you out. They might be trying to tear you down, but it sounds like there's certain replies, and over time you'll start to appreciate and start to filter out yourself what is garbage and what is what you're looking for. And you might not even know exactly what you're looking for. You might post that saying, please help me get better, but you're secretly hoping, I think we all kind of do, is that all the replies are going to be just positive. You're not going to get a single negative. But at the same time, again, just to wrap it up, if all you're doing is getting positive replies and feedback, the single worst thing you can do as an artist and to yourself is to think, how do I word it, that you're there. You know what I mean? Like you made it. Because if there's one thing that I'm finding out now, is that you'll never make it and you'll never be there. And that might sound like I just slapped you in the face or I'm being rude or attacking you, and I don't mean it to be. Just realize that you will never get there because it doesn't exist. You'll never be the best because you can't be the best. There's somebody else that's going to be the best. But you need those two hurdles and those two walls, and you need to be able to break through them. So, does that mean once you find somebody that is the best, you're going to take them over and be the best? You can't. It's art. It's creative. Nobody can be the best creator of anything, right? We all understand that. So all you can do is be true to yourself. So take what people are telling you, filter it in a positive way. Even the negative hate and the troll comments and all that crap, filter it in a way that you can. Process it. Literally process it. Just think about, like, is that right? Is that wrong? Maybe I needed to look at some anatomy, check out my shoulders. I'm having trouble. Like, I knew when I was drawing this picture that the guy's shoulder just, I don't know, I was sketching it before I got to the inks, and I'm like, I really don't know what's going on. So I kind of put the inks in there and made it look okay. And hopefully the people that are looking, they didn't notice. That might be a concern. So somebody picked up on it, you know? Take that and definitely do some research. Grab an anatomy book and just Spend 10 minutes. You don't even know what 10 minutes will give you. You know what I mean? If you're using the washroom. Hey, I don't want to get gross on you guys, but a lot of people, they like to read books in the bathroom. Take an anatomy book and put it in there. So if you're in there doing your business, you just flip through. Your brain is cataloging that stuff, So the next time you sit down, you might go, damn, I still don't know how to draw the shoulder, but I remember, in this book that I was flipping through, I remember looking at something with the shoulder, so you can grab it and just flip right to it. So I think that's getting a little long-winded, so I apologize. So yeah, hopefully that answered your guys' questions. If you have a question or comment that you'd like me to address, just leave it right in the comment bar. Don't be shy. Go ahead, ask anything. I'll try to get to the, I don't want to say the best ones, but the ones that I seem to be getting quite a bit, or ones that I just find interesting and stuff. But yeah, I won't take any more of you guys' time. Thank you so much for the questions that I have gotten so far. Thank you for watching. Keep reading comics. Keep making comics. We'll talk to you next week. Take care, and we'll talk soon. Bye.